Sometimes we don't win. Don't give us a bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show, Red River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome in everyone to Betting Weekly Live. It is Thursday the 13th of November. You're with Steve Wyss and Lewis Jones. And coming up on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the card in the European World Cup qualifying. A great intro tune there, but it doesn't mean we're going to be covering Trinidad and Tobago against Jamaica, Lewis. I hope things are going well with you there. How are you feeling heading into this international break?
Hello, Steve. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here as always. Had a few days off actually, Steve. I've just it's a good time to switch off. I feel this international break for me, especially with what's to come around the corner around the Christmas period in terms of Premier League action and just non-stop football for what seems like months and months of it's just constant, isn't it? So this has been a good period last few days actually just to review some of the processes I've been got going on in terms of what bets have been landing and what bets have been missing this season, and spending a bit of time with the kids and just switching off a little bit from everything. But I'm ready to go. It's not my cup of tea, really, the international break. But there's more jeopardy on the line in some of these matches, isn't there, now with qualification just round the corner as we're entering the sort of last two games of the qualification period. So I'm enthused. I'm ready to go, and I found a few good angles for this evening. So looking forward to it. How are you doing? All right?
I'm doing well. I'm a bit like you actually. I'm not actually going full pelt with betting in this break. In fact, I'd even considered taking a betting break for a few days, but I can't do that. What I've decided to do is completely focus on the sort of the best bets. I'm going to bet on the best bets, but I'm not going to go mad with sort of others that I would. I don't want to be intense in this period because you're right. There's a lot to come. I've been doing some other projects as well. Betting Zoo episode was recorded yesterday with Will White. That should be out today. I did another project. I actually interviewed the Mjällby manager, winning manager who won the Allsvenskan in Sweden, record-breaking manager. Very interesting insight. I did that the other day. It's a good time to do a few other projects. Welcoming everyone: Leslie Mack, Rick Hiley, Chris Graham, Real Brennan King A, and Buelo Charles as well. Real Brennan King says hi from chilly Toronto. Never loved international break. Because it also means no Lewis Jones and less content for the Betting Weekly newsletter. Well, he is here for international break duty. Canned Nation, that's a new name. I think I've seen you. Welcome into the chat. These World Cup qualifiers are normally low scoring. But he's thinking about taking a shot on Italy to score 3+ goals. Villa fan, good to see you as well. Shout out yesterday to two daily double winners, Betting Weekly US. Those guys have been on absolute fire. I think they've won something like 6 of the last 7 doubles. And a shout out to Dan Roebuck for that daily double yesterday. Half winner in the Women's Champions League. And Nathan Joyce, of course, cashing as he normally does with picks in South America. So, we've got to get cracking, actually, because there's a couple of early kickoffs that we've got to get stuck into today. We'll start, actually, with Armenia against Hungary. Which is a clash where Hungary are the clear favourites for, minus 220 favourites. A really important game for Hungary. If they win this game and Portugal beat Ireland, then it's looking good. Well, they will be finishing second place in the group. So it's sort of, if this was the first game of the group stage, you might not get Hungary at minus 220. There might be something like minus 160 or minus 180. But for me, I've actually got a very similar bet to you in this one. I'm looking to the props, Lewis. But in terms of the money line, Hungary for you, will they get the job done?
Well, they should do, shouldn't they? As the odds suggest. As I mentioned in the intro, really, I do like these this time of the qualification period, because teams are going to be motivated to they have to put it all on the line, and this is the case for Hungary here. So if you are taking those short prices about Hungary, I do think you've got a team that are going to be going right to the end for you here, and they need to win this game really to put pressure on Portugal and also solidify themselves in that second place. But I thought that too short for me to get involved with. They are the better team, I think. All the underlying data and I think the previous fixture between the two suggests that. But price is right, so got to be a little bit shrewder and look towards the props markets as you are doing, Steve, here. And I just like the price about Hungary's best player scoring any time here, Dominik Szoboszlai, plus 143. He's a player that's getting better, actually. I watched a lot of him for Liverpool, obviously, over the past 18 months or so since he signed, and I love how he's become one of the sort of main figures now at Liverpool. He really rises to the occasion in terms of responsibility and a leader with the way that he plays the game. And it's exactly the same when he pulls on the Hungary shirt, actually. There's so much swagger about him. I do love watching him when he plays for Hungary. He just carries himself like he is the main man. And it's those sort of players, especially international level, that when it matters most, they seem to deliver. He doesn't hide from the occasion, Szoboszlai, and I think he does grow when the stakes are quite high and when his country needs him. And I love backing players like that in the anytime goal scorer markets. Just in a game where they're needed to step up, they normally do. And Szoboszlai is that player for Hungary. So I made his price here quite attractive, plus 140-ish on with Bet Rivers. I did quite like that. And what I like about that is because it's his volume in terms of his attacking output for Hungary as well. It's really, really strong. He takes a lot of shots. He's on all the set pieces, takes free kicks, takes penalties. So you're getting a good run for your money here on Szoboszlai. And I just think that might be the better way to get a pro-Hungary based bet on side here, just backing Szoboszlai anytime. Only a lean for me, not an official play, but it's one to note in the early kickoff, Steve. Where are you going? Similar lines?
Yeah, it's similar. Exactly the same bet. He's actually plus 150 to score any time now with Bet Rivers. Nice. Dominik Szoboszlai. Now, what I wanted to bet on him was his shots on target, because every time I've watched him recently, he's hitting that target, and he's actually had 12 shots on target in his last 7 games in all comps, and he just seems to be getting better and better and better in this department. Club and country, by the way, so it's not like he's just doing it for Hungary. He's doing it for Liverpool now as well. He's confident. He's got to be one of the most accurate long shotters that I know of in this day and age. But for Hungary, he's often even further forward, isn't he? So he'll get some even more chances. So I think he's a shot on target bet blind at the minute. I would have happily took over 1.5 shots on target from here, but when the market's not offered. So we've got to go to score any time at plus 150. And I think that's a really good bet. I really think this is Armenia, in a match that they need to win it. He's the biggest threat for me. I know Varga's up top for them as well. He might score as well. Minus 114 though for Varga. So I don't know why Szoboszlai's plus 150 when he's at nation level. Probably the biggest threat.
Yeah, I was expecting the price to be around sort of even money, even maybe slightly odds on, to be honest. So the fact we can get him here at big plus money, I think it's definitely a bet to consider. And as you say, he's very confident, and he looks like he's taking shots from more or less everywhere because he's backing his ability to do so, and that's obviously what you want from a player in the anytime markets. You don't buy a ticket, don't win a raffle, do you? So Szoboszlai anytime, I think, has got a good chance tonight. There's
not many players like this around, by the way, at this point in time that shoot like this from range and hit them so well. But in this sort of high XG era of creating chances and reducing the shots, but. Anyway, 87% of the money's on Hungary for this game, 89% of the tickets. Biggest bet on the game is actually on under 10.5 corners, $1,600 play. And producer Troy's put up a good stat there. Hungary money line and over 2.5 is the most populous SGP on the World Cup qualifying card today in the Europe. So if you like your SGPs, that is maybe one to follow the money with. But we like Szoboszlai. I do think Hungary will get the job done. There's another early kickoff today as well. It's in Azerbaijan against Iceland. Another really crucial game, actually, for the away side. Minus 200 for Iceland. And if France do their job tonight and beat Ukraine and Iceland win, then it will set up a shootout a showdown. For the final round, it would be Ukraine against Iceland, and Iceland would actually just need a draw if that happens. They've got to make sure that they get the result that they need here, really, Iceland. But they thrashed Azerbaijan in the first game. But it's never easy travelling this far east, is it? And, it can be an awkward spot. Iceland at minus 200. I've been debating whether I want to get involved with them or not here, Lewis. I'm not sure.
Well, looking at their previous fixtures in the group, I mean, we'll look at the France-Ukraine game later, and they put up a couple of really decent performances against the French, Iceland. So they're a team to take seriously, and they've got the carrot of, you say, still being motivated to try and get that second spot ahead of Ukraine. So nothing really jumped out for me in terms of the prices here. Again, I thought minus 200 was about right for Iceland here in a game that they need to win. And they are obviously they carry the bigger threat than Azerbaijan, but as you say, it's a very difficult place to go sometimes and can be quite fiddly. So again, I thought you're getting probably about the right price there for Iceland. But it would be good if they could get a win and make that ending. I mean, a lot of these fixtures today, the results are going to obviously have huge bearings on the next set of fixtures in a few days' time, there's some really cracking fixtures that could be all on the line for the second place in the playoff situation. So this might be one of them, actually, where Iceland win and then Ukraine maybe slip up at France, and it's all on the line in a few days' time. So, I thought Iceland probably should win the game, but minus 200, right price for me.
Right at the top of the show, someone put in the comments, both teams score. Yes, Leslie Mack it was. And I do possibly agree with him. Iceland games have been full of goals in this World Cup qualifying run. Over 2.5 goals is at minus 120. Azerbaijan did score against Ukraine at home, and they did score against Ukraine away. They conceded goals. And it's one of those where I don't think really Iceland can accept a draw here overly. So it might be a case of, if it is, say, 1-1 going into the last 20 minutes, you might well hit the over. I know someone, a friend of mine who I respect on the betting front, and he said a good bet here might well be Iceland winning over 1.5 goals, or just simply Iceland's team total over 1.5 goals, which I wouldn't want to put off anyone there. It's an intriguing game. It
is, because I'm just looking at Azerbaijan result they got against Ukraine at home, and they drew 1-1, and they actually created over one expected goal in that match, which is for one of the minnows to go and create over one of these one expected goal in terms of chance creation is quite impressive, really. So they're obviously a team that know how to play at home. And if Ukraine is struggling to get a result there, then maybe Iceland would too. But I just think there's they have to go and win the game, Iceland. That's it. It's just a win or bust, isn't it, for them? So I do normally like backing teams in those situations where they're sort of what's on the line is very clear, and they need to go and win the game. But Azerbaijan, as you say, no pushovers, and they might be good for a goal. So that Iceland winning over 1.5, over 2.5 goals might be the way in here, because they've shown they're capable at home, this team.
I don't think they're a bad parlay piece, Iceland. And I don't think I'll be rushing to have a massive bet on them at minus 200, though, either. So that's the best way I would say that game. Fingerwag22 says, draw in Iceland on the half-time, full-time market. We're going to talk about the Norway game soon, the great one. And Effie Brilovsky's going Iceland and Hungary minus 1. He's not overcomplicating it. Minus 1, presumably on the Asian line, Effie. You're not losing anything if both those teams win, and you're bumping up your odds. So fair enough. It is 72% of the money on Iceland and 79% of the tickets, which is not as much as I thought. Surprisingly, more money for the under in this game. 62% of the money on the under. But there might not have been a lot of liquidity in that market, perhaps, which would suggest the stat there. Those are the two early games. We're going to go to the later ones now. We might as well stay in the same group, actually, so we don't overcomplicate it. France versus Ukraine is the fixture here. France are in a position where a draw would confirm, well, because of their goal difference, a draw is going to confirm their group winner's spot, you would think. They've got Azerbaijan to play as well. Ukraine are 16-1 here to beat France. The tie's at plus 650. These two met in the opening group game back in September. France won 2-0. And since then, it's been I don't think it's been a very convincing qualifying campaign from France, but they've done what they needed to do, probably. Ukraine here, I mean, it's one of those matches for Ukraine where a win would help them. A draw would certainly help them a lot. It would put them in a good spot heading into the final round, Lewis.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a free hit for Ukraine, this actually, because I think whatever happens here, they're still going to have the ability to finish second in their own hands going into the final day against Iceland, whatever happens in Azerbaijan with Iceland. So they can sort of approach this game, I think, with a bit of freedom. And I think teams that do that can be actually quite dangerous. And especially a team that they're facing here, France, who are obviously incredibly short in the market, minus 650. And we don't need to go into the details about what they're bringing to the table. I mean, they've got some of the best players in the world in forward areas, and they've been there, done it at major tournaments for many years. So I don't need to wax lyrical about how good they are going forward. But I don't think this France team are very secure defensively, possibly as they once were. And I was just trying to think of reasons why this was. And it makes actually little sense, to be honest, because they obviously got William Saliba, haven't they? The Arsenal centre-back, who is now becoming one of the best centre-backs in the world. But maybe if you just take that partnership he has with Gabriel away from the situation, and you put Ibrahima Konate or Upamecano next to him, and then you've got then Lucas Digne to your left rather than Calafiori, maybe he becomes a little bit more vulnerable than maybe meets the eye. And maybe that Arsenal defence is all about the cohesion and the chemistry between everyone in that backline rather than one player. And that probably actually makes sense, because this French team in qualifying, they're not giving up high volumes of chances, but the ones they give away, they are of high probability. So in the two matches against Iceland, they conceded 4 big chances and shipped 3 goals, which was very surprising, and then went against what the market was expected. And even in this reverse fixture with Ukraine, conceded 4 big chances to a backdrop of 1.4 expected goals. So they won that game 2-0, but based on the underlying metrics, they were very, very fortunate not to concede in that match. And I just wanted to go back and watch the highlights of that game to make sure that just the eye test was going along with the data. And at 1-0 down, for more or less all of the second half, Ukraine were really knocking at the door in that match, and they really should have equalised to make it 1-1. And France got a late second to seal the game, which ended it. But Ukraine were very much in that game, and I don't think this is going to be as one-sided as maybe the outright odds suggest here. So it's just about finding how to get this sort of a pro-Ukraine play against this France defence on side. And I'm in the end going up for the team total Ukraine goals here. Over 0.5 goals for Ukraine at plus 133 is the way I'm going to be playing this. And I think this is actually quite a big price, because Ukraine have scored in 13 of their last 15 internationals, and I know a few people will be screaming at me here saying, yes, one of the blanks did come against France. But I just think that performance, there was much more that met the eye really in that game, and Ukraine caused a lot of problems for France with the way that they played. And I just think in this free hit scenario here, for them to score just 1 goal over 0.5 plus 133 is a big runner. And obviously to go alongside that, if you're going to be back in that sort of price, the plus 155 for both teams to score obviously would scream value. And people will be asking probably why would you not just back the bigger price for both teams to score? But I've been stung before in these types of situations where I just want one variable to happen rather than relying on 2 things to happen in a game. And so if Ukraine were to win to 0, maybe 1-0 or 2-0, I would be absolutely kicking myself at not taking the slightly shorter price on the angle that I really fancy. So that's the reason why I'm just going for the team total here at over 0.5 goals rather than just the both teams to score. But if anyone wanted to back the both teams to score, I would put them off, because it is I think there's value to be had there as well. So I quite like Ukraine to score here, Steve.
It's actually been backed in. I've just looked now. It's plus 112 now. It's still plus money.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah,
it was a big price. That 135 was too big.
I mean, you just reminded me here of a player that I'm going to back in the props market for Ukraine, and I've been following him it's Ruslan Malinovsky, and he often plays as like a false 9 for Ukraine. His shots and goals and shots on target for Ukraine are often through the roof. He's plus 180 to have over 1.5 shots. He's plus 240 to have a shot on target. He's plus 800 to score. I'm going to take all them 3. He's even been scoring goals for his club, Genoa. which is a surprise. This is another guy who can shoot from range. So Malinovsky, watch out for him. They won't get as many opportunities as normal, but he is a threat.
Is that a case of a sort of a positional change then, really? Because isn't he a central midfielder traditionally? Yeah, so he's playing a little bit more further advanced. I think he scored 3 goals in his last 2 internationals. So he's obviously getting into those positions where it's hurting in the market, as you just said, hasn't caught up yet. So perfect example of here why positional changes in football betting are absolute goldmine. So yeah, if you're thinking Ukraine are going to get on the score sheet tonight and you want to be exceptionally greedy, then how do we pronounce his name? Malinovsky, yeah, plus 800. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, in the last international break, he had eight combined shots and 5 shots on target, including 1 goal, also an assist. He scored against Sassuolo in the last round for Genoa. It was a beauty of a goal, actually. So his confidence and tail's going to be up. Yeah, Malinovsky, definitely keep your eye out for him. In this game, there is a house special. Kylian Mbappe or Harry Kane to score 2 or more goals. Either one of those 2 will do. And it's been boosted to plus 130. So, that's probably worth it, actually, on Mbappe alone, because he does, that we know he's probably the biggest stat padder in world soccer, apart from Ronaldo. So he is always going to be a threat there. I'm with you about France's defensive vulnerability, and Saliba's an interesting case. What we've got to remember is for a long time, Didier Deschamps did not like William Saliba. He wasn't his man. He only played 27 minutes at the World Cup in Qatar. And it's only really been in the last, I would say, 18 months, even perhaps less than that he has been the regular starter for France at the back. And I think he's only done it because he just has to put him in now. He's never been Didier Deschamps' favourite, and I'm not sure why. And it's been questioned before, but it could be, maybe he's seeing something that we're not seeing. Maybe take Gabriel away.
I think that's it. I think the fact he comes as a pair, really, Saliba, and he meets these high standards when he's got his mate next to him. I think that makes perfect sense. And maybe that's what Deschamps feels deep down as well. And as I say, as I've mentioned before, Konate and Upamecano are not in the same league as Gabriel in terms of positioning and aggression and defending their box. So I think they complement each other really well, don't they, Saliba and Gabriel? So that's probably the thinking there. But yeah, no, it does make them vulnerable. And I think this is being priced up based on names on a team sheet rather than the actual chances of them conceding the goal here. So, looking forward to getting stuck into Ukraine tonight to just to get a goal. That's all we need. 1 goal.
That's going to be the first part of your daily double as well. We'll come to the second part soon. 92% of the money's on France. Biggest bet on the game, though, is on Ukraine, plus 2 on the Asian handicap at plus 104. That's nearly a $2,000 play on that one. Brian says Mbappe, Kane and Haaland to score. Tonight he's doing trebles, doubles, singles. Are you laddering into 2 or more and hat-tricks as well, Brian? I'm sure that's going to be popular. Steve from Lynn, great to see you. Thanks for your comments on the show this week and for a long time. It was good to see the daily doubles hit yesterday, and hopefully we can get it again. Real Brandon King seeing Iceland moneyline at minus 154 now. I don't know whether that's team news related or not, but that may well tempt quite a few in. Just going to see what the latest odds are with Bet Rivers now for Iceland. And they have been, they're minus 177. So there's suddenly a huge negative for Iceland there. The ladder's out for Brian. Let's go back to, we'll talk about England soon, but I want to go back to that group where we talked about Hungary. This is Republic of Ireland against Portugal. Plus 750 for Republic of Ireland, minus 250 for Portugal, and the ties at plus 333. Now, if this match was played in the first 2 or 3 match days, it'd be a very obvious bet for me. I'd be looking at both teams score. No, I'd probably be looking at unders. Portugal win to 0. But I'm just looking at the league table here. You know, Ireland's World Cup qualification hopes may well rest on this game. They might become a cornered dog, and it's very unpredictable what happens to a cornered dog. So ultimately, I actually quite hate this match now from a betting perspective, Lewis. Portugal, in theory, would just need a point, really, with their goal difference as well. The thing is, what I was thinking, if Republic of Ireland fall behind in the game, do they have the ability to actually come back into it? That's my issue. I'm not even sure if they wanted to come back, they could. But it could be desperate times for them, or will they just try and hold out for a 0-0? I don't know.
It's a very difficult. I feel your pain with it's the timing of this game, isn't it? In terms of because a lot could change based on what happens in Armenia versus Hungary. Because if Hungary beat Armenia, then more or less Ireland's hopes of qualifying more or less over, I think. But then if that game ends a draw or Hungary fail to win, I mean they're banging with a chance of getting that second place. So the atmosphere in Dublin is going to be really dictated by the result of that early game in Armenia versus Hungary. So. It's a very difficult game to assess from the outright more traditional markets at the moment, and I would be a little bit more positive on Ireland really if the result goes their way between Armenia and Hungary, which I don't think it will. I think Hungary will get the job done, but just sometimes that stadium in Dublin, the Aviva, can just lift the team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they put up a bit of a fight against Portugal if the early game goes in their favour. But it's impossible to make that prediction at the moment or have an angle without knowing the way because it's going to shake the market probably that early game as well. So I'm just going to keep it a little bit more something which isn't going to change, and that is Ireland's ability and threat from set pieces. And this is back in centre backs this season. It's a sort of a betting tactic which I've utilised quite well, I think, and have been very profitable for me this season just because of the explosion of set pieces in the Premier League. And I've always been a believer that there's great value to be had long term in backing the right centre backs in the right spot. And this season is definitely the time for me to make hay, I think, because we've got so many dangerous centre backs going up for throw-ins now. So every chance the team gets to put the ball in the box, just look at Dan Ballard for Sunderland against Arsenal. I mean, they're winning free kicks 60 yards from their goal, and he's going up and winning the first contact every time. And it's players like that which are just gold in these goal scorer markets and shots markets. And the Republic of Ireland have got three very dominant and dangerous players who play centre-back, Steve, I think. So, and they're going to go up for every set piece. And those three are Jake O'Brien, the 6'7" monster from Everton. We've got Dara O'Shea, traditionally a very good attacker of a set piece who plays for Ipswich in the Championship, and Nathan Collins, who is one of the go-to guys for set pieces in a very set piece orientated team in Brentford, who has had a lot of success this season across the shots market and the goals market. So I think the guy in charge of Ireland knows this is where their strengths lies, and I think they're just going to try and utilise set pieces as much as possible as they can in this home match against Portugal. And there's evidence to suggest that they are already doing that in their two home games this season. These three guys have racked up lots and lots of volume in terms of attacking intent in the final third. Look at Jake O'Brien, 0.4 XG, 2 shots in the 2 games. O'Shea, 0.75 XG, 5 shots in the 2 home games. And Nathan Collins, 0.4 XG from 5 shots in those 2 home games. That's a total of 1.5 XG combined in those 2 matches from the centre-backs, and a total outlay of 12 shots. As I mentioned, from 2 games, that is a huge amount of evidence to suggest that this is a very set-piece orientated team. And yes, I know they're playing a different level of opposition here in Portugal. They're not going to get as many moments to go up, not going to win as many corners, not going to get as many free kicks in and around the box. But just looking at Portugal's data in their last match against Hungary, they conceded 0.8 worth of expected goals from set pieces, Steve. And that included a goal and also 5 other shots from set pieces. So I would be quite confident to suggest that there could be a weakness here with Portugal at defending set pieces, and Ireland are going to try and exploit that. So the way to get these boys on side, these 3 centre-backs, are very difficult. Obviously, this is such a difficult situation we find ourselves in as punters about which centre-back is going to be the guy to go to. And I think in this case, we just got to split our stakes 3 ways and back all 3 of them to score here, and hoping one of them can do the business. So O'Brien is plus 1,800, O'Shea plus 2,200, Collins plus 2,000. So if we're splitting stakes 3-way on a unit here, we're getting around sort of plus 700 that one of them scores. And obviously you've got the added bonus of probably having it right off if two of them, or maybe all 3 of them can score, Steve, and we'll be absolutely laughing. But it's I think this is the betting tactic to approach here. It's a shame Bet Rivers haven't got the player shots markets up for this match, and because they'll be all 3 of those guys would be live as well in this type of market. But I'm happy to take all 3 of them here: Jake O'Brien, Dara O'Shea and Nathan Collins, splitting my stakes 3-way, and hopefully one of them can land. So I think that is their best route to go, and Portugal have shown a weakness there already.
Great breakdown. Really great breakdown. And there's some massive odds here on these guys to score. O'Shea's 22-1. Collins is 20-1. O'Brien is 18-1. Only one of those players you can bet on with Bet Rivers in the shots on target market. O'Brien is plus 560 for a shot on target. That's the only player of those you can bet on that. And there's no one in the shots market, sadly. Just looking through some of the comments here. Richard, lots of viewers today. Is it Steve or Lewis drawing them in? Well, we just don't know, do we? But we thank you everyone who is.
Not me on an international break, Steve. No one's tuned in for me on an international break, surely.
I know about that, Lewis. Did the Daily Double last time.
Yeah,
but
true.
It's good to see so many. Mike Carver, good to see you. You guys have been absolutely flying on the Betting Weekly US guys. Have hit a sensational amount of daily doubles, and they'll be back later at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And they'll be discussing Thursday night football, Jets at Patriots, amongst other things. And he's saying, can the boys in green go today against Portugal? It's a big game for Ireland. And do you know what? I'm going to mention the weather here a little bit. And it's a little bit of a shame that there's a storm coming into the UK tomorrow. Storm Claudia. And it's not quite going to hit tonight. So, but the conditions are going to be still grim in Dublin. Bit cold. Portugal, some of these players, they might not be quite up for it. Roberto Martinez doesn't strike, to me, the sort of manager who's going to focus on set pieces, defending them anyway, or even attacking ones, really. They're having so much of the ball. He's probably thinking we're not going to need to defend that often from them. He's definitely the sort of manager who I think has his flat spots, Roberto Martinez.
No, 100%. And I remember him back in the day at Everton and Swansea. His teams did lack a bit of physicality in terms of in key areas of the pitch, and that's every coach has got their different ways of going about it. And he likes to focus on the technical side of the game, but then that does offer up opportunities, especially in this day and age where teams are much more creative and dangerous from set pieces than ever before. These managers like Martinez, like Ange Postecoglou, to a certain extent, there's other managers out there who don't put a lot of weight in defending set pieces. There's definitely angles to exploit. So this is why I like the three big boys at the back to go and cause some chaos tonight.
Biggest bet on the game is again on the underdog. Plus 1.5 Asian handicap on Ireland. $1,500 is on that. The dogs are popular today, Lewis, on the big bets. Ben DeMello says Portugal struggled with the big centre backs last time they played. Kelleher saves could be a shout. I like that one from Brian as well. Kelleher saves potentially. Let's have a look. We're going to talk about the Norway game, RHM, at some point. Brian says the weather's not too bad in Dublin right now. And yeah, the forecast isn't terrible, but it is certainly a lot colder compared to Portugal. But yes, we'll move to the England game now. England against Serbia. England minus 455 favourites. Serbia are 11-1 and beyond for this game. But the match means an awful lot more to Serbia than England. Lewis, that's fair to say. England all just going through the motions, really, these two fixtures. Serbia have been very, very timid whenever I've seen them in the last 2 or 3 years. But surely with everything on the line now, they've got to give it a crack here.
Oh, yeah, I think so. They've got a new manager as well, Steve. The Veluko Paunovic, is that? I'm not sure. I've probably butchered his pronunciation. Formerly of Reading. That's all I know really about him. But he's did really good work with the Serbia under-20s. They won the World Cup a few years ago, and I think this has been earmarked as his job for a long time. So very big night for him. He's a very patriotic person. I've been reading about him today, and he channels a lot of the warrior spirit. And Serbia need to win this match to stay with hope of qualifying. So I think England are really short here. And as we mentioned, they're already qualified, aren't they, England? And I know this they've got this clean sheet record that they're sort of holding on to at the moment because, I mean, they haven't conceded a goal yet in qualifying, which is quite ridiculous. I mean, 6 games, 6 clean sheets, backed up by an expected goals against process of just 0.2 expected goals against, which is just ridiculous levels of like defensive prowess, really. But just from a long-term perspective, I wouldn't really be reading too much into this England defence being the next best thing, really. I mean, they've had a very easy qualification passage, and Serbia have had also their issues and having to change manager. So I wouldn't read too much into the fact that they've kept 6 clean sheets in a row. But the markets are reading a lot into it because they're sort of pricing up this game as England, who are expected to win very comfortably, and they probably will. But I think they're a little bit too short in the market, and they're sort of expecting them to win without conceding the goal as well. And I'm not sure it's going to be that simple, actually, because no matter how good of a team you are, there's always a bit of variance and a bit of misfortune that's going to hit you at some point, which is going to see you concede a goal. And I sort of used this line of thinking in the last Premier League weekend, really, to really grab some great value on Sunderland when it came to sort of Arsenal's run without conceding. I did think it was going to not last forever, and it did come to fruition there. So I've definitely got that sort of betting tactic in my mind at the moment. And I just think the shrewdest of sort of gamblers out there understand that instead of sort of chasing a streak, they're looking for opportunities when the streak's going to snap. And that is the case here, I think, with England and the clean sheet run. I think it's going to end tonight. And because it's such a difficult thing to do, to go through an entire qualification campaign without conceding a goal. It's rarely been done. And Serbia have to win tonight, Steve, to give them any sort of chance. And they're going to get forward. They're going to try and cause some issues for the England defence, who they could underestimate them here. And they've got very good players, haven't they, in the forward area, Serbia, which only sort of strengthens my confidence that they can really testing England tonight. The likes of Mitrovic and Vlahovic are both scoring goals still. I mean, Vlahovic had a very good start to the season, hasn't he, in Serie A, and they can sort of conjure up things with out of nothing. So yeah, I think this is a good opportunity here tonight, I think, to get the Serbia goal on side. We're talking about prices here. For Serbia to score, plus 105 is a big price, I think, just for them to score one goal. Again, we could go down the both teams to score route if you wanted, and that makes perfect sense. A bit like my theory, same sort of theory as with the game earlier involving Ukraine and France. I would rather just keep Serbia goal line on my side rather than having to go with the both teams to score. But if you're that way inclined and you want to back both teams to score, please go and do that, because I think there's value to be had there. And I just think this England clean sheet run is too good to be true, to be honest. They're a very organised team, but coming up against an attack like Serbia, who've got lots on the line, I think Serbia can score in this match, and I think they're overpriced.
Yeah, the more I look at the table, the more I think Serbia are in a bit of a hole here. They could try and play for the 0-0, but the danger then is that Albania get a good win later, and they're behind on the goal difference, and then they're still needing a favour from England in the next match day, and they still have to win big themselves. So it could be. It's one of those they've almost got a win to keep in touch. So yeah, and this is going to be the daily double from you. It pays plus 335 now, so it will officially go down as plus 335. But it is Serbia and Ukraine basically to score at least one goal each. Team total over 0.5. I'm sure a lot of you out there will be fancying the both teams score yes double as well, but we're just keeping it simple there on those teams to score a goal. That's the official daily double, and it would pay very nicely at plus 345. So great angles in there. Lewis, I don't have a bet on this game. My personal opinion with England is that they're quite difficult to read, and I'm not sure that. I mean, Brad Brett says there that some of the England players are still trying to make an impression on the manager. Maybe, but I think England also are one of the first teams, or the players, to down tools a little bit, if we're being honest. Thinking about player fitness, injuries. Imagine if, say, a big player got injured in this international break for England. There'd be outcry.
Yeah,
so
I think they'll be looking after themselves to a certain extent. It's not going to be a game where they need to put everything on the line. Yes, they're playing for places, but and the likes of Elliot Anderson and Morgan Rogers have probably got quite a lot to show. But the likes of Harry Kane, really, he's even though he's motivated by goals, he's not got much motivation in terms of his place. It could be seen as a bit of inconvenience to a few of these players. I know you're playing for your country and stuff, but you're qualified. The job is done. Just subconsciously, you are going to drop your levels a little bit. And this is a game that means so much more to Serbia. And I just do think this new manager coming in, his first game in charge of his country, he's going to make sure they're at it and they are willing to give it a go to try and keep any hope of qualifying alive. And I don't think that's been factored enough into the prices here. So, yeah, for one night only, I'm going to be a Serbia fan at Wembley, Steve, I think. Yeah,
he's pound of it. He was at Reading, of course, Chicago Fire as well in the MLS for about 4 or 5 seasons. He's been in Mexico, and he was the Oviedo manager.
Oviedo coach, yeah. We've got them up, didn't he? I think he got them promoted, and then he's left. in this season, I think, to take this job, because this was always his number one dream, I think, to be the Serbia manager, having done such a good job with the under 20s. So big night for him. I think he's going to get this team motivated to try and go and cause some noise. Yeah, I don't think that's been factored. Yeah, Mitrovic, big players in forward areas. So yeah, like the price about Serbia just scoring a goal. That's all we need.
And a reminder for the house special: it's Mbappe or Kane to score at least 2 goals or more, plus 130. I mean, I'm not entirely sure how many minutes Kane will get here, if he even starts. But that is the house special. I still think it's worth it for Mbappe's perspective. But I'm trying to find the betting splits for this game. Here we go. 96% of the money on England and 96% of the tickets. Biggest bet is a prop one on Elliot Anderson over 0.5 shots on target at plus 110. 4-figure bet there on Anderson, who's been linked with Man United this week, I do believe, for about 70 million, 80 million.
120, I think. 120 million.
120, was it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's. I think he's got to add a little bit more to his game if he is going to be getting those sort of moves. I mean, he's a very accomplished player who's got a lot going for him. Without possession, especially, he's a monster. But in terms of his actual final third output, got a long way to go if you're going to be going for 120 million. I think.
Brad's going for England to win by a big margin. So let's just see how we just need 1 goal from Serbia for that.
Yeah, 5-1's fine, Brad. 5-1.
Yeah, we don't mind 5-1 at all. Right, we've still some of the matches on the card to go. We'll go through them a little bit. There's a lot of people asking about Norway, and there's no odds offered on Norway for Bet Rivers to win this game. It's a shoo-in due to their goal difference, which is immensely better than Italy's. I think we can pretty much say that win the game and Norway are going to be at the World Cup, unless they lost like 9-0 to Italy in the next match. So it's interesting that the reverse fixture only ended 1-0. Actually, it was the one game they just didn't quite get their scoring boots in operation, but it was in the middle of the summer when players can be a little bit tired. Now, this is not a game. I'm not going to get heavily involved in it. But I've got a little lean on the game, and it would be first half goals, and it would be on the first half goal line of Asian of 2 at plus 107. I just feel like it's one of those where they come out of their traps really hot, get what they need to do early on, which is basically score a couple of goals, and that will be enough. And then the second half, they can just enjoy themselves, really, rack up the score if they want to. But look, the lines are inflated, no doubt about it, because of, I mean, the handicap on Norway is minus 3.75. The main goal line for the game is 4.5. Haaland to score a goal is minus 910 to score a goal. He's minus 148 to score 2 or more. I gave out on the newsletter on Monday Haaland to score 2 or more at plus 105, which I thought was a good price. Minus 148, less so. There's some mad odds swinging around here. Lewis, Norway will get the job done. It's just one of those games where, how many did they win by? How many did they score? How many does Haaland score? My gut feeling is not to get heavily involved betting-wise.
Yeah, same, Steve. That's the biggest understatement of the show so far, because that Haaland price, it looks like an error, doesn't it? It looks like we've got the graphic wrong. Minus 910 to score a goal in a football match. I don't think I've ever seen a player shorter than that. I mean, maybe Messi and maybe Ronaldo over the years, but wow, that price takes ball. I mean, it's going to land, but it's going to take balls of steel. If
he's drifting, he's minus 770 now.
Hello, right, here we go. Change plan. No, yeah, I mean, this is an absolute crazy price, but you're right, it probably will land. Norway will win. It's just about trying to work out whether they're going to be motivated enough to cover the Asian line. What would you say is 3 3/4 now, is it?
3 3/4.
Yeah, it was minus 4 earlier, and I was sort of laughing to myself, like, that's just, it seems like a huge handicap to overcome, but they probably will. It's not a betting heat for me, this one. There's a little bit of me that thinks that Norway will get 2 or 3 up and then just have a bit of a celebration because they know they're already there, and then maybe put the queue on the rack a little bit and just enjoy themselves. But then with Haaland up front, he's going to be wanting to score, isn't he? So again, there's that flip side. It was a game which I thought was a very difficult one to call from all the major markets, and definitely stand it aside. But brilliant to see Norway and that team potentially be at the going to be at the World Cup if they can deliver the goods tonight. They're going to be a good team to watch at the World Cup, and having Haaland at a World Cup supported by the likes of Odegaard and things like that, they're going to be a good team to watch. And he's his first World Cup, wasn't it? I think so. Yeah, brilliant for him.
The last 4 head-to-heads, they've met each other 4 times this century. In 2005, Norway won 2-1. Estonia shockingly claimed a win in a friendly in 2014. They were 8-1 on that instance. And then a 0-0 draw in 2016. And then that 1-0 win
1-0.
back in June.
So the head-to-head is you've got to be against the handicap here, haven't you? For them covering the handicap.
Yeah.
So, but it's not a bet. It's not a bet for me. But if it was going to be if I was pushing someone to maybe have a lean on the game, it would be maybe Estonia to be okay on their handicap. But it's not a bet. It's not a betting heat for me, this one, Steve.
Yeah, I say my lean on the game would be over 2 Asian goals first half. I think there's a good chance that you won't lose on that bet. But beyond that, it's hard to predict. They could easily rack up the score. Say they're 3-0 at half time. They could easily rack up the score and win 10-0 again. Or they could just go in party mode, pass the ball around, and have a bit of fun. So it's too hard to predict. And I think it also makes the other match in the group really hard to bet on, to be honest. Italy, I don't know really what they can gain out of this window, unless there's a massive shock in Oslo, of course. Minus 1250 to beat Moldova away from home. Moldova 25-1 shots. The reverse fixture was only 2-0. I don't think Italy even covered the half-time line, even winning at half-time off the top of my head. So it immediately just reeked of no bet whatsoever. The goal line's at 3.5. I feel like Italy could do with maybe getting some momentum out of this international window, but deep down, they know that the results ultimately probably aren't going to make a difference to them, and they've got to look ahead to the March window. So it was a no bet for me, Lewis, again, clearly.
Yeah, same for me, Steve. It's, again, a very difficult situation to try and analyse, I think. Do we want to get with Italy to potentially try and chase down this goal difference with Norway? But just looking at the comments from the manager, Gattuso, he just wants to win the game. He just said, we got to go there, respect the opposition and get the 3 points. So that's not even into his thinking, by the way, that he's looking at it from a manager perspective. He just want to get there and get the job done and get out, probably, because these are very fiddly fixtures sometimes for the top nations. It's a no bet situation for me, unless you really fancy Italy to go there and try to. The only way they can try and catch Norway is to put a real score on the line. I mean, Moldova was it Norway that beat Moldova 11? Was it 11 they got?
Yeah, that was
Norway.
The one, yeah.
Sorry, yeah. So you never know. You never know. Italy
They're
might go there and think they could score maybe 7-8 goals, but it's not a betting heat for me. Again, it's a very difficult couple of games to analyse that group, I thought.
The biggest bet in this group is actually on Estonia. The dogs are being backed here. $1,000 on Estonia plus 4 Asian handicap that's a brave bet, but it wouldn't shock me if it didn't lose.
Yeah, I agree.
So fair play for placing that bet. Let's just go. There's one more match to discuss. You actually, the player you like in this match, it's Andorra against Albania. I mean, a big game for Albania. They're thinking, if England win and we win, we're looking really good. Looking very good to finish second in the group. Andorra away is one of those fixtures that you want it, but at the same time, they're not the sort of team that get battered day in, day out. So you look down the player angle here, Lewis, for a goal scorer bet.
Yeah, just a lean on here on Christian Ajlani to score any time at plus 350. And it's just a theory I've got whenever Andorra play, really, because in terms of them conceding lots of penalties, because their last 23 competitive qualifiers, they conceded 9 penalties and 3 in the last 4. And there is a sort of theory behind this. It's a 40% strike rate for them conceding a penalty. And it's just because they just get into their low block. And teams that sit deep and defend in this low block spend time with like 10 men behind the ball. They're statistically much more likely to give away penalties because of all the defensive actions that happen inside the penalty area, the blocks, the tackles, the chances of VAR getting involved with handballs and things like that. So it does make sense that it doesn't get deeper than a defensive block than Andorra's, and they're actually very good at it. That's all they obviously train at. They train in their 11 men behind the ball, and they just try to not get thumped every time they go out on the pitch. And they do concede penalties. They say 9 in 23 games, and the penalty taker for Albania is what I'll probably think is their best player here, Asllani. And he's got an amazing record for the penalty spot, 11 from 11, and this is including his youth career as well. And I think he scored a couple for Inter Milan towards the back end of last season. So he was ahead of some of the strikers in the pecking order, and he scored 2 penalties for Albania. He looks like the man likely to take the penalties, and a man with that record and just the 40% strike rate of a penalty being awarded against Andorra, which sort of implies a probability of around, I don't know, the odds implied should be about maybe plus 150 of a penalty being awarded, but then we're also getting Aslani to score from open play as well, and he's a very technically gifted player, isn't he? Likes a shot from range when he's in the mood, and he scored actually against Georgia away in the Nations League from open play, so he brings a bit of threat from there as well. Just thought a guys on penalties against Andorra, good player. They're probably their best player to score any time. I just thought that was the one that jumped off the page to me, really. So it's a little lean on him to score any time, plus 350. The penalty taker always against Andorra. You've got to have him on your side.
Albania on the minus 1.25 Asian handicap is minus 159 with Bet Rivers, but it just shows you how much they are respecting the 0-1 score, because Albania to win to 0 is minus 235.
Yeah, I did look at that price. I looked at that price and I thought, can I get anywhere near sort of minus 175 maybe?
Yeah.
No chance. It was very, very well covered in the market, unfortunately. That's the most likely scoreline, isn't it? 1-0,
Yeah,
2-0.
it is.
Maybe Dutch in stakes on the correct score, 1-0, 2-0 Albania. They just need a win and get out of there. So, but again, prices aligned with the probability. So no bet there, unfortunately. Just I think having Aslani running for you for the likelihood of a penalty being awarded does make sense.
It's just only plus 330 for the 0-1 correct score. That's one of the shortest odds I've ever seen for the 1-0 anywhere. 2-0 is plus 320.
Yeah.
3-0 is plus 440. Bet Rivers taking absolutely no chances in this game, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them whatsoever. I'll let you think about the best bet for the day. But before then, got to remind people about the newsletter, of course. Betting Weekly newsletter. The Insider is going to be out tomorrow, covering some thoughts on the international matches, plus a big UFC card as well, of course, which Paul the Hitman Hughes has got a pick in on the newsletter. And of course, later on, Betting Weekly Live US, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss that. Those guys have been on fire, and they'll be discussing Thursday night football, Jets at Patriots. I've got some betting breakdowns from producer Troy for that game, actually. Patriots have got 80% of the money, and they've got 61% of the money on the spread, which is minus 13 at this point in time on the Patriots. And on the over-under market, which is 43, 76% of the money is on the over. And there's been a big wager, $10,000 on Trevion Henderson, anytime touchdown score at minus 132. He was on fire at the weekend. I actually had him in my NFL fantasy team in the first 6 weeks, and I got rid of him, and now he's the starter. So that just sums it up, doesn't it? Best bets then, Louis. What's your best bet today? And we'll talk about the double in a minute.
Yeah, the best bet is going to be incorporated into the double, really. But I do really like Serbia to score at Wembley at plus money, plus 105. Serbia over 0.5 goals. I think there's a much bigger game for them, and I think this England clean sheet run is going to come to an end. I don't think they can't go through the whole qualification campaign without not conceding a goal. So I think this is the night where we try and profit from that and trying to jump on the streak ending. So yeah, plus money for Serbia to over 0.5 goals.
That's the daily double. Serbia to score over 0.5 goals and Ukraine to score over 0.5 goals. It's plus 335. Thanks, producer John, behind the scenes for updating that graphic. My best bets on the day. I like the props. I like Dominic Szoboszlai to score. So do you, Lewis?
Yeah, that's a good shout.
I really liked your angles on the Ireland centre-backs, so do check those out if you're joining late. And Malinowski for me. Watch out for him on the shots. Over 1.5 shots at plus 180 with Bet Rivers. I think it's a big price. Just a couple of questions before we go here from the chat. Go through them. A lot saying Norway do score the goals in the first half. Haaland first half goal. Real Brennan King's interested in. Turin and Rotterdam Tourist Board. Lewis, would you add in the set-piece taker for the assist for the centre-backs? Who does take the Ireland corners? I don't know.
It's a very good question. I haven't got it to, but we had a brilliant example of that, didn't we, a few weeks ago when we were on about Longstaff and Joe Rodon. The assist goal double copped, and there was some very fancy slips doing the rounds on social media. And yeah, no, definitely. Putting greed upon greed, why not? Let's go for it. And if you can find out who the assist maker is from the corner, then why not chasing the bigger prices? Definitely plus EV bets, those ones, I think.
Van City Canuck says, one game I'm really looking at is El Salvador at Suriname. Is Suriname really that much better? I can tell you, I just actually looked at the world rankings for this game, and they're not that much better. They're 126th in the world rankings, Suriname, and El Salvador in 94th. So if you base it on the world rankings, which sometimes you've got to take these FIFA world rankings with a pinch of salt, then that would be definitely a bet. Man City, Canuck. Remember, there's live streams you can watch today. There's one right now in the African World Cup qualifying. Nigeria are in action. You can also watch the Grand Slam of darts on Bet Rivers app or on the website. So good luck, whatever you're taking. Thanks, Lewis. It was a great show, as always. And thanks, everyone. So many of you in today watching live or on demand for an international break. Was great to see. Best of luck, whatever you're taking. Dan is going to be on tomorrow with Rory Barlow. So we're covering more international matches. And then have a great weekend, everyone. I'll see you on Monday, Lewis. We're back on Monday, me and you. So let's catch those winners. Take care, you all. See you next time. Goodbye.
Cheers, Steve.